From W3DS and narrative journalism on the campus of Denison University, this is the 3 Days of Story podcast-a-thon. I'm here to introduce your celebrity judges sitting at the top tier of the...
Jesse had this idea from the very beginning that we would have a sort of an event where students would get together with faculty and with radio journalists and work on stories and then sort of very quickly produce these things. And I didn't know if it would actually happen.
For art, architecture, and technology of ancient Rome! And dude, their columns are still huge.
If they could pull it off, or if we could pull it off, and I was pleasantly surprised that it actually did happen.
Same computer, right? So what does that mean if you want to come in here and there are people in the lab? You're screwed. You can't work on your project. So by using Google File Stream, we can open...
The point of the podcast-a-thon was to take advantage of the Mellon funding to bring classes together and faculty together across disciplines and around the campus. We wanted to bring students from a variety of disciplines and programs sort of into the fold of storytelling. We also wanted to bring in outside radio producers and journalists to work with the classes so that they could have, in a sort of finite period of time, all the resources that they might need in order to create a short podcast.
Okay, if you had to tell me what your story was about in one sentence, what would it be like?
How sororities are from the perspective of someone who didn't grow up here.
Ah, okay, perfect.
That's the craft of it.
Yeah.
So I was asked, you got any hacks to pass on to students? And it's like, no, there are no hacks.
Yeah.
This is about
Literally.
This is about the craft of storytelling.
Pretty much.
I think it's really cool. I've never really experienced this at a level technologically. So it's a little scary.
I think it's going to be good to know about because I'm the same way. I'm just a grandma with technology. I don't know how to use it. So having this skill I think will be good in the future. I can do stuff like this.
Kind of like what makes writing for audio special. We call this making your script sing.
One of the ideas was we really wanted people to try to incorporate podcasting in their classes this year because Jesse Dukes was on campus all year long. But we also know, and I know as someone who's taught for many years, that it's hard to introduce something new into a class without spending a lot of time working on it. So the whole point of the Mellon grant was to help provide those resources for faculty so that they can learn along with students and hopefully continue doing these sorts of things in the future.
One of the sub-themes of the class is how do we orally communicate things about science with the lay public. So this is a really nice opportunity for them to take these themes around self-regulation and psychology and turn them into something that everybody can understand and to tell the story about them, which is interesting.
I've never done a podcast before, so I was kind of nervous about how it was going to go, but it's gone really well, and having a group makes it way easier to kind of help each other out.
Somebody told me that trick, and it took me a year to learn that. So
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Maybe, I think what may be happening is that podcasts are the first signal that academic discourse is about to change, that it's about to relax itself, that it's about to start becoming naturally multimedia, and I look forward to that.
You ask the person how many times do you have to say that you're not stressed when you actually are. I think you have music there, you should fade that up a little bit more gently.
The podcasts are a way of recovering and reasserting what we want, what we see in the world, not according to the paradigms that academia pushes upon us and foregrounds for us, but it puts us back in charge. And so our voices naturally are going to be more honest, more direct, more authentic. And I think the subject matters will be too.
and I was like, is there gonna be a next time? And they were like, yeah, like let's go. So when I was talking to Nana yesterday, she said that that would be a good place to end. So
I think that's great. I think that sounds like a pretty natural end to me.
And finally, the Buzzy Award. Look at that.
You know, from my perspective, one of the more exciting events that I've participated in at Denison, because I think it represented the liberal arts at its best. The first was just the podcasts. They were smart, they were wise, they were interesting, they were funny, right? All those kinds of wonderful liberal arts skills. Second was, it was incredibly interdisciplinary, it was just fun to watch the students put their academic work into practice by thinking across the disciplines. The third was that they were working in teams, right? Which is the very best of liberal arts, thinking across the disciplines, working in teams to see old things in new ways and come up with creative ways of seeing the world around you. And then the last was, as we know, one of the things that students at Denison learn to do remarkably well is to communicate, right? It's great to have good thoughts. It's even better to be able to communicate them in ways that other people can listen and hear. So I thought it was fantastic. It just captured all those wonderful Denison qualities at its very best. And it's amazing how quickly they did it and how much fun they had doing it.
The grand champion, the Buzzy Award, has been earned by Theo Botkin, Josh Blaz, Lydia Hewitt, and Sarah Hume for The Flowing.